I was just going to make a few comments. I've obviously been sitting in my front room all day, as many of you have, and it has been, I think, a very positive event. Thank you for coming. Thank you for all the speakers. Thank you for all the workshop leaders. Just picking up on a few things, we want to remind everybody here and in your organisations and ideally in the community that careers is about helping everybody, but starting perhaps with young people to make well-informed, realistic decisions. Rachel at the beginning talked about careers being a golden thread, and I thought that was excellent. I also liked Ryan's analogy of the dartboard. 3 darts can get you 180, or 10 darts can get you 160. Think about what you're trying to get people to learn and think about the inputs that will do that. Brian also talked about the map-wide approach, but with local and appropriate inputs. I've also been commenting a couple of times during the day that with special schools, careers is very much the same, but again, it's about the needs of the special community that you're dealing with. It isn't anything particularly different, it's just in the context, okay? Remember also, thank you again to David, and David always reminds me, I joined the careers world in about 2001 after 15 years as a secondary teacher, not knowing much about what it really meant. And it's that important thing about helping young people understand about themselves first, or whilst they're also learning about work and how to move themselves forward. So it's important to have both the discrete learning and the learning across the curriculum and the people who come in to tell us about their world. We have seen some very positive things. We've heard about the career leader training. We've talked about Ofsted's view of focusing on intent, implementation and impact. And I do want to reiterate to people as you go back to your organisations to keep up the good fight, as Helen said earlier on, about careers being right at the centre of education. Young people don't really go to schools to pass exams. They go to schools to help them become an effective member of the community, which generally involves getting into work. The other, so all staff training, collaboration, looking at the needs of your learning. You've had the chance to hear some examples of good impact, good practice. I shared with Lisa, who told us about a number of programs. And I also talked briefly about the recovery curriculum. Young people are not just ready for academic learning at the moment. They are ready for more than that. They need more support. They need to be helped to think about their place in the world, but not as a lost generation, but as a generation who can drive change and make things better. So we've seen all that. Empowering young people is what we're about, which might also help us to empower others. I know people are asking how you can do that. I suggest things like membership of the CDI, working with others, talking to your communities, educators, local MPs, whatever. And one of the other things I would say, and thank you, David, for saying this as well, the statutory guidance we have does strongly recommend that all secondary schools work towards the quality in careers standard. It's an external validation of your good practice. Just as kids take exams, a quality award, if you like, is your school being externally examined about the quality of your programme. So please do remember that yes, do your self-assessments, all that, use all the wonderful resources provided by the CEC, other people, but do remember that there is also a tool that you are strongly recommended to work towards that shows the world, if you like, that you are committed to the futures of your young people. So thank you very much. I'm going to shut up now and pass on to John. I am getting long in the tooth, but I haven't quite given up yet. Those of you who know me, I'm around hopefully for a few more years to come. So maybe next year we'll all be there in person.
Yes, maybe and hopefully, dear, and hopefully for more than just a few years as well, Janet. So brilliant. No, thank you for that. Some really, really useful kind of summaries really about where we're up to. So yeah, and I just really want to just build on from that. He says rushing through the slides to get to the right one where he wants to be. Good. Now I'm not going to take too much more time either. So probably just a final 5 minutes, basically, just to bring things to a close. So Janet has beautifully woven together all the themes really of the conference that occurred, yeah, and I think there's some really good things there, and there's some really exciting times. I think overall, there's been some of the lasting impressions that I've had really about where we are at the moment, because David mentioned before about that peak in the early 2000s. That's kind of like when I joined the careers sector, and I remember that. I don't think I realized they were the peak at the time, and then until everything was undone a little bit, and I started to realize just how good those good old days were. But what we are starting to see is that recovery, I think, as David called it, towards those peak times, and he really set out quite a clear route map about what we need to do as a country really to move forward. And I think that's been really useful, along with Rachel and Ryan's thoughts there about what we need to be doing, and that importance really about the outcomes driving the ship rather than the content. And I think also with Rachel's points there then about, are we hitting the mark but missing the point, kind of thing, in reference to the Gatsby benchmarks, which I think was quite a sobering thought really, which I thought was really, really useful, just to make sure that we're doing things but doing it for the right reasons and clearing the impact. Okay, just wanted to share a couple of last developments with us, and then I've got something that we're really excited about as a launch, a conference launch here, about a campaign for change that we've been working very hardly towards over the last few months, to be honest. And it'll be interested to hear your take on it, really. So first of all, mentioned about the career leader training. David mentioned that. Delighted that it's going and it's running and it's been extended. There are 12 national providers. And we're delighted to be delivery partners for 2 of those 12 national providers. So we work with Teach First, and we're doing some modules at the moment for their module 2 and 3 around personal guidance. We also form part of Futures, which is an offer of a level 6 accredited career leader program. So it's done over 3 virtual days at the moment. 3 assignments to get you 3 units at level 6 of accreditation, along with a work project. And we've got 2 cohorts in the wings, one starting on the 20th of October next week, and the other one starting on the 30th of November. So if you want any more information about that, do just ping us an email. I'll be happy to share more. We continue to promote best practice through the Quality and Careers Standard using our Complete Careers Career Mark approach. And we'd be delighted to support anybody that might be interested in embarking on that journey. And it's great that we've got a number of award holders with us today that I'm sure can explain the benefits of why they continue to reaccredit with that. We do innovate in CPD to meet career leader needs, kind of thing, in the appropriate format, and that's something that we've been really proud of with the way that we've responded to COVID, and how we've managed to make sure that we've enabled support and careers leader support through free Confident Choices series, weekly webinars, through to bringing online the career leader training, and also Mark's Crazy Careers video clips that we make available. We're committed to making things relevant for young people. And that's why we kind of got things like the Bonkers Book of Jobs, looking at horrible histories meets careers, to start to think about, well, it's not just all chalk and talk. We need to try and find ways to inspire from every angle, really. So do make use of those free Crazy Careers video clips if you think they might be of use for your learners, or even your primary schools kind of thing, feeder schools. We've also got another conference to look forward to. So this one was supposed to happen in April, and we hired out a venue in Newark, and it was a national one, and we got very far down the line of planning until national lockdown came, and we postponed to today with the full expectation that this was going to be a physical conference rather than a virtual. And then we had to change, and we introduced the right kind of platforms for that. We've got the next one. We've moved our booking and our deposit over from the Newark one to the 22nd of April. So we'll see where we are then, but we will definitely commit to doing another conference on the 22nd of April, hopefully physically, but certainly realizing now that virtual, I think, is the best possible substitute that we can get, and seems to work quite well. So date for your diary there. The other thing as well is that we've got a guidance network, that we call it, which is a free community for mainly careers leaders or career professionals. So, and it means that we have like termly newsletters that we send out with national updates, with updates on what we're doing, and various other bits and bobs, as well as things like the conference and local groups. So if anybody wants to join that, you have to let us know through admin@complete-careers.com. Just again, repeating that one, admin@complete-careers.com. And then we've got permission for you to add you onto the mailing list for that. And it is just one a term, that is. Right, final thing from me is this campaign for change. Now, throughout COVID, but even before COVID, as educators and career professionals, we've becoming more and more frustrated, to be perfectly honest, with just the kind of almost post-Govian legacy of education, really, about what it seems to have become, really, in terms of focus on exams rather than holistic individual. This is by no means an attack on schools and learning providers or anything like that. It's more to say, well, what we feel at the moment is that the actual system isn't working. And I know, obviously, there's been lots of campaigns for change, really, around more funding for careers, more funding, more support for lobbying for government. But what we would like to do, and what we've started to do, is to start a campaign for change. And it's a bigger change, looking at identifying that the system that we've got as it stands at the moment for education is outdated and isn't really equipping learners with the skills that they need for 21st century learning, mainly hindered by all the kind of outcome measures, really, from the GCSEs and the Progress 8 data and all the other things can get in the way of really holistically supporting the learner. So we have a live campaign. It's here, and it was launched only last week, just to our guidance network community. It's something that we'd just like you to have a read through to see if it's something whether or not you can support. So again, you'll find it in the link in the slides. We'll also post it under Conference 2020. You can find it in our blog, and it explains a little bit more about what we're becoming more and more frustrated with. And if you tend to think that that is something that you're aligned to and that you agree with, whether or not we'd invite you to be able to view the evidence base, view the research and reports that support it, and give you the opportunity to sign the petition. And obviously there's strength in numbers there, so we're hoping to be able to get a number of signatures so that we can put it under the noses of local MPs and maybe lobby for change. And I think that's really part of what we're trying to do with our community, is to get a voice really, so that you guys and us can really start to make an impact. Finally, I just want to say a closing thank you to all our participants today, and I mean that from everybody, from all the delegates that have come along today. It's very difficult times in education at the moment, and therefore to be able to find any free time to attend, even for half an hour or an hour, is a bit of an ask. We know that, and therefore a lot of you have attended for the whole day, which we're most grateful for. Another layer of thank yous to our workshop facilitators that have committed their time at relatively short notice to put together some really key delivery presentations there and facilitate some really good discussions. Absolutely thrilled with the reaction and the content and delivery that our 3 national presenters provided us with too, with Rachel Green, Ryan Gibson and David Andrews, which I think were all outstanding. So really thrilled with that. And finally, I'd just like to say a final thanks to Ellen, Lucy and Peter, who are our administrators that have been in the office today and kicked me out. I'm here at home, and my children will appear before me in a moment, so apologies for that. Need to make sure that the recording stops before they arrive. But no, just genuinely a huge thank you to them, especially to Ellen, because none of us are IT techs, but we've given up a whole lot of time and support to be able to try and foresee as much of the potential problems that we could encounter to provide our first remote conference. So huge thank you for them, and thank you for your patience and understanding and recognizing that we weren't going to be perfect by any means with the technology and the delivery, but we're really proud of what we've achieved today.